Okay, let's dive right into this. Today, we're looking at the absolute bleeding edge of metabolic science. We are witnessing a rapid, honestly unprecedented evolution in peptide therapeutics that's just fundamentally reshaping the entire landscape of global weight loss. I mean, we're literally watching a pharmacological arms race unfold in real time, and the speed of innovation right now, it's just breathtaking. Welcome to the Explainer. Now, I want to hook you immediately with this number, 28.7%. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the staggering average body weight loss achieved by patients on the highest dose of a new investigational drug in the recent TRIUMPH-4 clinical trial. We are talking about nearly a third of a person's total body weight completely eliminated. So, how did we get here? Well, today we're going to break down exactly how science pushed the biological boundaries to reach this point. Section 1. The Peptide Revolution. Reshaping Metabolic Health. What started out as traditional type 2 diabetes management has completely exploded into a total revolution in metabolic health. But, to really grasp this, we need to quickly define what we're actually talking about. Peptide therapeutics are basically short chains of amino acids. Think of them like naturally occurring messengers in your body. Insulin and GLP-1, those are both peptides. Well, scientists are now synthesizing these in labs as agonists. That means they're engineered to actively stimulate your body's cellular receptors to regulate highly specific metabolic functions. And, as experts like Dr. Craig Conover point out, these have rapidly become some of the most widely prescribed and frequently off-label medications in America. But it's absolutely crucial to understand that this is about so much more than aesthetics or just chasing a number on a scale. Dr. Conover shared a really profound clinical insight. Shedding excess adipose or fat tissue directly reduces systemic inflammation throughout the entire body. Just imagine waking up without that heavy, inflammatory brain fog. When you clear that physiological burden, patients are reporting complete transformations in their energy levels, their cognitive clarity, and just their overall daily vitality. It's a real game changer. Let's move to Section 2 and see how this builds. Single versus dual agonists, the baseline duel. To really appreciate the newest breakthroughs, we first have to establish the current ceiling of weight loss therapies. We can set the stage using the recent SURMOUNT-5 trial from the New England Journal of Medicine. This trial basically pitted the two current heavyweight drugs against each other in patients without diabetes. In one corner, you have semaglutide, a single agonist targeting just the GLP-1 receptor. In the other corner, Tirzepatide, a dual agonist targeting GLP-1 plus a second receptor called GIP. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference. Look at the results at 72 weeks. Semaglutide yielded a highly respectable 13.7% body weight loss, but Tirzepatide, it blew right past it, achieving a 20.2% weight loss. The trial data proved definitively that engineering a molecule to hit a second metabolic target significantly outperforms a single target approach. So, Section 3, enter the triple agonist, shattering the ceiling. Which brings us to the totally natural escalation of this arms race. I mean, if two biological targets are good, what happens when we hit 3? Enter Retatrutide. This is a highly engineered single molecule from Eli Lilly that simultaneously activates receptors for GLP-1, GIP, and, crucially, glucagon. That glucagon receptor is the absolute key differentiator here. You see, while GLP-1 and GIP basically suppress your appetite, glucagon agonism goes on the offensive. It drives increased energy expenditure through thermogenesis and the activation of brown adipose tissue. It also heavily mobilizes fat directly from the liver, dramatically improving liver health. This third target is specifically designed to shatter previous efficacy ceilings by actively burning energy, not just reducing your caloric intake. Let's look at the numbers. Section 4, TRIUMPH-4 clinical results, the 68-week data. Now, what's really interesting about this data is seeing how that triple target theory translates into real human outcomes. In the placebo group, patients lost an average of just 2.1%. But scan over to the retatrutide columns. On the 9 mg dose, patients lost 26.4%. And on the maximum 12 mg dose, patients achieved an average of 28.7% body weight loss. To put that into perspective, that is an average of 71.2 pounds lost over just 68 weeks. But the benefits didn't just stop at the scale. Because the patients in this specific trial also suffered from osteoarthritis, researchers tracked their joint pain. And the result? An astonishing 75.8% average reduction in knee pain scores. Actually, more than 1 in 8 patients on Retatrutide became completely pain-free by the end of the trial. all simply by removing the mechanical burden and the systemic inflammation of all that excess weight. When we visually stack all 3 generations of these drugs side by side, you can instantly grasp the massive evolutionary leap we're talking about. We go from 13.7% up to 20.2%, all the way up to nearly 30% with Retatrutide. That extra jump over the dual agonist is the direct result of that glucagon receptor actively expending energy. It's truly a pharmacological triumph. But Section 5, the safety trade-offs, the reality check. Okay, we have to pivot objectively from the euphoria of those massive weight loss numbers to the sobering reality of what this actually does to the human body. Because let's be honest, biology rarely gives you a free lunch. The gastrointestinal side effects here are severe. In the TRIUMPH-4 trial, up to 43.2% of patients experienced nausea, over a third had diarrhea, and nearly 21% dealt with vomiting. Trial discontinuation rates reached up to 18.2% for the highest dose. And fascinatingly, some of these dropouts were simply because patients experienced what they perceived as excessive weight loss. They literally lost too much too fast. But beyond those expected stomach issues, a completely new and somewhat unexpected safety signal emerged in this trial that analysts are keeping a very close eye on. It's called dysesthesia. Basically, this is an abnormal, unusual, or painful sense of touch caused by nerve dysfunction. It makes normal physical sensations feel deeply uncomfortable or even painful. And this wasn't just a minor blip in the data. Dysesthesia occurred in nearly 21% of patients on the highest Retatrutide dose, compared to less than 1% on the placebo. Now, while these events were generally mild and rarely led to people quitting the trial, it's a stark reminder that heavily altering the body's hormonal signaling pathways can have some pretty complex, unforeseen neurological effects downstream. Section 6. Optimizing the outcomes. Clinical strategies in the real world. With these incredibly powerful drugs entering the market, expert clinicians are aggressively developing real-world protocols to mitigate these extremes. Because right now, the standard heavy dosing model presents a serious dual threat. You have that severe gastrointestinal distress we just talked about, paired with substantial lean muscle wasting. Dr. Conover has observed that when patients are losing, say, 15 pounds in 3 weeks, they aren't just losing fat. They're stripping away vital muscle mass, which sometimes leads to that hollowed-out look people call Ozempic face. So the crucial point is exactly what Dr. Conover states here. As long as people are losing 2 pounds or less a week, they're not losing the muscle mass. That microdosing has been a literal game changer. Slowing down the pharmacological effect, rather than just blasting the body's receptors with maximum doses right out of the gate, is the real secret to healthy body recomposition. In clinical practice, successfully managing this breaks down into 3 required optimization steps. Step 1. Implement compounded microdosing. This controls the rate of weight loss and helps bypass that brutal nausea. Step 2. Ensure high dietary protein intake. When your appetite is this suppressed, it is incredibly easy to undereat. And step 3. Commit to heavy resistance training. You have to send a strong signal to your body to preserve lean muscle tissue while the peptides mobilize the fat. And looking at the absolute cutting edge, as noted in the Fit Science protocols and the Conover interview, edge case users in the anti-aging and bodybuilding communities are taking this a step further. They're increasingly utilizing compounding pharmacies to actively stack these GLP-1s with growth hormone secretagogues, like CJC1295 or ipamorelin. By pairing a fat loss peptide with a peptide that stimulates the release of growth hormone, they're attempting to engineer the perfect metabolic environment, aggressively stripping away visceral fat while chemically preserving and repairing lean muscle tissue. Which leads us to our final thought. The progression from single to dual to triple agonists has yielded truly unprecedented results. But it forces us to ask a rather provocative question. If a triple agonist can eliminate nearly 30% of a human's body weight, what is the ultimate biological limit of pharmacological weight loss? As this peptide arms race continues to accelerate, the staggering and perhaps slightly unsettling future of human metabolism is being written right now.